Hello. Merry Christmas.
Whoa!
Kerr's even got his hat on. Look at this. Rangers run out 2-0 winners. Motherwell nil. Motherwell nil. Rangers 2. 3 more points for Clermont's side. Again, another team that doesn't register a single shot on target against us. Just what we all wanted. And hopefully we got out of there injury free. But we'll come on to the talk of that a little bit anyway. I'm joined again by Connor and Kerr. Connor, how are you feeling after that?
Yeah, absolutely delighted. It will be a Merry Christmas for one and all. Nice way to round it off. You always worry, don't you, when you're playing on Christmas Eve and you're thinking, oh, just get the result. And we did that. And, but for a couple of fine margins, could have been a couple more goals to be talking about as well. But personally, I was delighted that the VAR check went offside, just from a purely selfish point of view, the fact that I predicted 2-0. So, but no, could not be happier.
Yeah, it was gat to feel for Dessers today, man. Two decent finishes. Some terrible finishes in there as well. Although I'm not counting the last one as a terrible finish because we won a drop ball out of that. So I think that was quite clever from Dessers. He read the moment. Kerr, what are your sort of initial thoughts from the game just finished?
So that's quite happy. I know it was second half a bit tough for maybe 15, 20 minutes because Motherwell had to go for it, but good 3 points. Back up the road, nice Christmas Day, but I'm just hoping none of the players are suffering any injuries because some of the challenges they were quite hefty and the referee was letting them go.
Yeah, we're definitely going to come to the referee because I thought he had a bit of a mix. I don't think he was terrible decision-wise. I guess it was decision-wise. The lack of cards, I think, early on was a bit terrible. But as I say, we will come to him. We are sponsored by NordVPN. They, of course, sponsor Rangers Football Club as well, and now they sponsor the Rabble. So if you want a big discount, I'm sure Martin's put the link in the description, and you go there, get a big discount, and keep yourself safe when you're browsing the internet. Welcome to all the troops as well that are joining us. See all the Christmas messages, absolutely fantastic to see. A lot of people already putting their thoughts in, so we're going to try and come to as much as possible. But just on the initial start, then, Connor, it was a weird one because I usually think we not usually start well, but we start fairly okay, and that usually it flips the other side for us where we tend to concede that first goal after starting well. But it was sort of the opposite I felt today, where we were a bit slack in the first minute or two. We were just giving the ball away a little bit too much on our own end, and then out of nowhere we've got up the other end and just put the ball in the back of the net, and it was just that dream start. Really good link up play between who was it? Sorry, Dow and Dessers. Dessers with a lovely little layoff to Dow into his path. He takes touch with his right and then blasts it home. And it was just a tremendous start and the absolute dream. Exactly what you want when you just want to sort of settle the nerves early because we've got to get to this big game at least 2 points behind, and it was just the perfect start.
Yeah, absolutely, the perfect start. No surprise to me that Dow scored. Just an absolute. It was, as you say, the first minute or two. It was a wee bit slack, a bit sloppy, but I think I'd put that down to the conditions and just taking that wee minute or two to kind of adjust properly to the conditions because it wasn't great out there today. It really wasn't. With the weather and the wind, I mean, dear me, there was some moments with the wind today that were ridiculous. And that ball that came in the box, it was like one of those invisible FIFA players that you get sometimes. It's magically cleared it when they're not there. It was bizarre. So I think it was just getting ourselves adjusted to that. But once we did, we moved the ball really well, really sharp. I've got to be honest, when Dow first hit the shot, I actually thought he was hitting it over. It seemed like it was going so high, and then obviously it just sort of, ripples into the roof of the net. But it's a great finish for Kieran Dow, and absolutely, something that I think he needs. I think getting back into the squad's a good thing for him. He done okay against St Johnstone, getting a goal today and lasting for as long as he did in the match as well. It all bodes well for him, and I thought him and Cantwell in particular in the midfield, I thought they linked up really well throughout the first half. In particular, we had some real good moments. But I always think it's important, you get off to a slightly sloppy start, but then you get a good goal just to settle everything down. And then that's you sort of kick on from there. Okay, we never went on and won 4, 5 or 6, but we got the all-important second goal that really, even though there was 16 minutes in the clock at the time, you felt at that point, the points were going to be secure. Because you didn't really see Motherwell getting 2 or 3 goals in that game. They didn't look like they had it in them. So yeah, got to be happy enough with how we played. I thought Sterling again was tremendous in the midfield. I mean, we've really unlocked a hidden gem, midfielder that we never ever knew that we had. But it's funny how situations that you find yourself in with injuries and stuff like that can lead to you having to make decisions like putting somebody like Sterling in the midfield, and it just works. He's just taken to really well. But the most important thing, of course, was all 3 points in the bag, and we've done that. And hopefully we're unscathed. Obviously, Goldson did come off with a little bit of a knock, but I'm hoping that's more of a sort of one of those kind of dead leg situations where he'll just sort of shake it off, and he'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, no, I thought we handled ourselves pretty well, particularly in the first 45.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the first 45, considering the conditions, was one of our best halves of the season. We've got so much to get to. A lot of people mention the conditions, and yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on some of the passing because, like Connor said, I generally, the moment that ball sort of swelled out of the box, I thought it was cleared. I generally thought it took a deflection off someone, and when they showed the replay and it just sort of changed direction mid-air. But look at this, a Rabble member, Stephen Gillespie, with a £5 super chat. Merry Xmas, Rabble, and everyone in the comments, have a good one. I hope you have an amazing Christmas as well, Stephen, and of course everyone in the chat. I hope you all have an amazing Christmas. Just it's good to go in this with feel good, isn't it? I can't just it feels good. I'm like getting into the Christmas spirit again. I haven't been in that way for a while, and I think Rangers they just dictate your mood so much. Kerr, we don't have to wait too long then for our second goal, which was honestly a ridiculous build-up in between this goal. It had so much zip about our passing, considering the conditions that we just mentioned. I wanted to give a particular shout-out to Todd Cantwell, who sort of shaped the body to knock it wide from the corner and then slices right across it to knock it into, which I think is completely intentional, by the way, to knock it into the path of Tav. It goes sort of back over to the left-hand side. Not the greatest cross from Ridvan, but listen, it lands at someone's feet, so for me, it is a good cross. Seamer chests it down, and Cantwell runs onto it and just slots it into the bottom corner. And it's goals like that really get you off the seat in it, because it's just, you want to see good football. That is we want to win games. That's the necessity. But seeing the good football mixed in with it just makes it so much better. And that was just such a good goal.
I thought Cantwell was really good today. I thought he was everywhere as usual, but I thought he created a lot. He was involved in most of the good things we done. Him and Dilla, I thought, linked up well with McLaughlin at times. And I thought Dessers worked well with him as well. But no, the finish was superb. He knew the conditions. He knew if he hit it too hard, like underneath it, where it was going. So he just passed into it. He never done anything else. He just directed it into the bottom corner because he knew it would go there. And that's what we see for Cantwell, because he's got that ability, Stu, to get more goals in this team, because they all know he can do it. So it's just getting him in these positions, and if Dilla's going to be playing behind him, he's going to have that opportunity because he's getting folk and creating for him. And I thought today was superb. But no, the 2 goals we scored were superb. We could have scored a lot more. We would take our chances at times. They're offside, etc. But no, I was quite happy with the way we played in the first half.
Yeah, it's a good point, Connor, because listen, 2-0, it's one of those sort of sketchy scorelines, isn't it? Where if you get the next goal, it's done. The game's completely done. But the longer it goes 2-0, if they just bobble one in, a scrap from a corner like they did have as well, one of them just lands in the net, and then you got the 6 minutes added on time. All of a sudden, it's a bit backs to the wall. So again, you got to praise the defending in the second half, because is it 2 games in a row, or maybe not the St Johnstone game, the game before that, but we're not giving up a lot of chances. The Betis one as well, we went 3-2 up against Betis in a game that they could have had a few goals in, and all of a sudden it's just like we put the shutters down, and it's like you're not coming in. And we seem to defend better late on in games when it can be a nervy moment than any other point in the game, which is a testament to that sort of players' confidence and understanding of what Clement wants him to do.
It is, yeah. I mean, look, everything that was sort of asked of the defence today, they dealt with. Another game where we haven't had, I don't think, a shot on target against us. I think, yes, Motherwell did have that wee flourish towards the end where they had the wee scramble in the box and stuff, which you kind of knew was going to happen for Motherwell, because that is something they've done a lot this season, is they've snatched a point here and there with late goals that they've managed to conjure up. I think they showed that in the stats actually early in the game that Motherwell have actually taken the most points for losing positions this season, and that has been due to late goals. However, in those games, in the main, they've been a goal behind as opposed to two. I think the only game that they were 2-0 down and came back was against St Johnstone earlier in the season when they got a 2-2 draw out of that. But I wasn't ever really worried. Apart from that Stramash in the box, there was nothing they flung at us that was making me kind of go on the edge of my seat and think, oh, this is going to be a bit nervy here. And you could see the desperation as well from Motherwell, trying to get their way back into it. I do think the second half we dropped a little bit deeper than I would have liked us to, in terms of just we afforded them a bit more space to try and create something. Obviously, the quality wasn't there for them, and we did defend it in the end. But when you've got players like Spencer throwing themselves to the ground looking for a penalty kick, that's desperate stakes at that point. That's you trying to find anything you can to get the the goal to put you back in it and make it nervy, and it just was never going to come for them. And I'm sure that we'll have members of the tinfoil hat brigade out claiming that yet again, VR and the ref have saved us and that was a penalty. It wasn't. It was clearly not. There was no contact. He's put his leg in front, or put himself in front of Yilmaz, anticipating or thinking that there's going to be contact. It doesn't come, and he goes to the ground. And for my money, being the fact he was already on a booking, that should be a second booking for simulation. So I think in that respect, they're very lucky to stay with 11 men in the park model. But as I say, apart from those moments where you're maybe unsure, it was all fairly comfortable in the end, even although 2-0 doesn't always look like a comfortable scoreline.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, I do want to come on to sort of the penalty shout and everything else, if you can call it that. Someone has just put in the comments, if I can find it, because they're going through quite quickly. Is Goldson injured? We don't know just yet. I think he was brought off as a precaution. Did they say he's one booking from a suspension as well? So it wouldn't surprise me if we do rest him in the next game, just to, we don't want to risk the other side of that for the game after. So yeah, I think it's just a precautionate moment, but we'll try and get some of the managers' comments as soon as they come in. Okay, just finishing off that first half, then we get another sort of chance. We get the corner, and it was I think someone put it in the chat, but it was nice to see that we've got some different corner routines going on now. We're mixing it up, and we look a real threat from set pieces, which is something that we haven't seen in a while, I don't think. But yeah, the corner obviously is short into the box. Cantwell runs on, and before that, I meant to build up to the corner. That was he sliced that one over, didn't he? Sorry, my apologies. Before that, to win the corner, it's another little sort of smash in the box, and it ends up at Cantwell's feet, who hits a fine volley, to be fair, and I mean, Liam Kelly actually pulls off a worldie of a save. I knew it was good, but when they showed the replay, it's a tremendous save. He's done really, really well to get that. And at that point, it was just we were in full flow, and I was just hoping we get third, because I think if we get the third there, we probably go 4-5, maybe more. You just don't know. But it's those moments where it's hard to be clinical from that range. I do get that, but we were so on top. If there's one thing I would point out, and I don't want to go into any negatives of that, the clinicalness needs to be a little bit higher.
Yeah, it probably does, Stu, but I think every team can probably say that about their own players. So, listen, like we said before the match, a clean sheet, 3 points, a couple of goals up the road, we were happy with that. We did create a lot of chances today, and don't get me wrong, Liam Kelly pulled off some decent saves, especially that one for Campbell. It's a really good save. But obviously Dessers missed a few. He scored a couple that was offside, but other chances as well. You say we score the third goal and maybe get more, it's just getting that third goal, wasn't it? It seems to be we kept pushing and pushing, but it just wasn't coming for whatever reason. But listen, see today when you look at the side and you think we've got that many players missing, we actually played really good football at times. I know people say it's only Motherwell, but Motherwell gave it everything they had in the second half because they had to. The managers under severe pressure. Their fans are looking for more because I think it was the commentator said it was 14 games or something, no winning. So you knew they were going to come out and try and be more direct, more physical, and they were. But we stood up to it, and the Rangers teams in the past, it's that against them, it's folded. But this is, some of these players have done it in the past as well. These set of players, but under the new manager, not a new manager anymore. He's been for a while, but under Clement, there's a change of mentality, a change of attitude, and he changes the system as well when he has to. When other teams start to do different things, he doesn't just sit and wait and wonders what to do next. Then he's proactive, not reactive. So I like that about him. And listen, I thought overall the piece, I thought we played really well. Like Connor said earlier, but Motherwell were only going to have a decent spell in the game. It's just you can't dominate for 90 minutes. But even when they had it, there was a few bits and bobs around the box. One that Butland gets stood on, which never really get mentioned, and people throwing themselves on the ground, but they didn't really put us under any pressure. I thought Balogun coped really well with Beereth, who I think is a really good player, by the way, Beereth, but I thought Balogun coped really well with him. And I actually thought Yilmaz did okay defensively today, especially his height. We've spoke about that in the past, we would said he's a wee bit suspect there, but he won quite a few headers and he was quite physical as well. I know you can maybe point his passing sometimes was off, but he wasn't the only one today in the conditions. But I thought he'd done very good defensively today, Yilmaz.
Yeah. I see a few people mention his passing in the first half, but I thought that improved in the second half as well. And he was unlucky not to get an assist, which again we can come to. I just saw one come in from Robert. We've got the manager's comments. I haven't got the clip of it just yet, so I'll just read them out. It's a bit of faff to set it all up anyway. Robert is saying, what do the panel think to McCausland the day? Can he go and cause Taylor a headache on the 30th? I think I could go and cause Taylor a headache on the 30th if I'm completely honest. He's awful. Touch wood, because I don't want him scoring screaming now. But what about you, Connor? I thought McCausland today showed that he's still on that journey to becoming a senior player at Rangers, and he's very raw at times, but he does some really, really good stuff. He is really direct, but it's those sort of final moments, sometimes that final pass, that final cross, that it's just got to be worked on. But it's still positive signs all the time when I watch him. Yeah,
listen, it is all positive signs, and look, you always have to accept with young players like that they're going to have their foibles, they're going to have things that they need to improve. That's the reason they are young players and that they're still developing. But he's shown a real maturity, I think, since he came into the squad in general terms, and real quality as well at times that he deserves a lot of credit for, and he will give Greg Taylor problems next week. There's no doubt about it. The pace he's got for a start, he's got a bit of technical ability. I mean, he's just the final ball lets him down, but I mean that lovely little sort of Cruyff turn he does the day that leaves, I can't remember which one of the Motherwell players it is, but leaves him in his arse. I mean, that's sensational play for a young man, but it's when he then gets into the area and the ball was, I don't really know what he was trying to do with the ball, because he just didn't generate any power on it at all. He just sort of scuffs it off the Motherwell defender, and thankfully Tav's there to pick up and recycle the opportunity and keep it going. But those are the moments he'll look to improve. I mean, like, he's got something in his locker, because the goal he scored against Aris was a terrific finish. We just need to see more of that end product for him. But he's not the only one that you could say that about in the team. I think Matondo's the same. I think, again, he goes through, he's got to slide the ball in for Lammers earlier. For whatever reason, he doesn't. Takes it down the byline to the point where he's closed down by the Motherwell player and out it goes. So, he's not the only one, McCausland, who has that. But I think he's got endless amounts of energy. And he looks like he's relishing and loving every moment that he's playing right now out in that park. And so he should, because there's never any guarantees once we get everybody fully fit, and maybe see he takes knock, whatever, it can all change very quickly. That's the dynamic of football. So I think he'll eat up every moment he can, and if we can get better out of him with the distribution, I think he'll be fine. And to be fair, when it comes to distribution, he's working in the same side as somebody who I think could be a very good teacher for him with that is concerned in Tav, because although we have our grumbles about him, you can't deny over the period of a number of years, he's been one of our most threatening players when it comes to crosses into the box and getting shots away as well. So he's under the right learning tree for that sort of stuff. And I think it'll all come. I really do. I think we've got the makings of a real superstar on our hands.
There we go. So you can blame Connor if he plays poorly in a couple of weeks or in a week. Moving on to the boss's comments then, Kerr. So he just spoke to BBC Scotland. He said, what we want to win everything. The players want it also, but it's important to win in these circumstances. You need to struggle and fight, and the players did that. When the wind was normal, we played good football and scored good goals. It is a well-deserved victory and a clean sheet also. It's important we continue what we're doing. It's difficult for me to pick out players because it's about the whole squad. Everybody's been available in other positions, and that is the mentality I want to see. It's important the players are ready for that, but also that everyone in every position knows what to do. Despite having 9 players injured, we continue to play our football. It is the things we need to take into account for the next couple of months also, and that players put their egos aside and only focus on the team. I know where the danger is when success is there. I'm going to be very strict on the message that it's all about the team. And he's also been asked about potential January signings. He said, we will see in the next couple of days and weeks what happens. The board and I have the same ideas about what to do, and everybody is working really hard to make that happen. And finally, on Connor Goldson, he said, I hope Goldson will be okay. He felt a little bit in his groin, which is a bit worrying. We will assess tomorrow. Not many players will come back for sure, but we will see in the next couple of days. We hope to keep the great support of our fans because that gives energy to our players. Game after game, we need all the support from our fans. Quite a lengthy one there then to come up, but saying the right thing. I mean, just picking little tidbits out of it, you know, pointing out that obviously it was a struggle in the weather, but when the conditions were decent-ish, we were playing good football. And the big one there that he's going to be very strict because, you know, the thought of success can become a problem, and it can, and he talks about egos and things like that, and it's really good to see a manager actually point that sort of thing out.
Yeah, he's trying to keep their feet in the ground, isn't he? Because we've no won anything. I know we've won the League Cup, but the league's one we want, and obviously want to do go as far in Europe as we can. So he's trying to keep their feet on the ground and just taking that a game by game, which is the right thing to do. We don't want to look too far ahead, which we do as fans all the time. I mean, we're ready to try to talk about Saturday, but we still get Wednesday to come into play before that. So listen, take it a game at a time. He said himself 9 players are injured, but the way we're performing at times, it doesn't feel like we get 9 players injured. Before, if we had 9 players injured, we'd be really struggling. But he's managed to work players come into the side and they're performing for him, even if he says maybe not playing a position they want to play, like he said before. I mean, Sterling's come into the team and doesn't look like he's played anybody else before, to be honest with you. Campbell's playing really well. Dowell's come in from the cold and had 2 good games, and Dessers is starting to show a wee bit more with who we all wrote off. But I thought today, you can see he's got a bit of more confidence about himself. He's trying things he wouldn't have tried before. Yeah, he's still getting caught offside, but his finishing looks better, even though both were offside. But he's looking like he's got more energy as well, Stuart. He's not looking as giving up as much or just shoulders slumped. He's getting involved more, so he's happy the way he's playing himself. So this was an opportunity maybe he thought he would never get, and he's got it, and he's trying to grab it with both hands, which is good to see. I still think the bench, Matunda comes on and doesn't do a lot for me. Lammers was the same, and Scott Wright wasn't much either. I know the game is nearly finished and stuff like that, but if the bench were a bit stronger, I'd be more happier. But Leon King come on, does okay. John Sutter come on, does okay. You know that. I mean, Matondo, Lammers, I don't know how long they'll hang about. It's hard to get other players on big money, but I trust this manager. I do, and I know he's only in a short while, but he's not done anything wrong. I know we've not lost a game since he came in, and I know that won't last forever, but everything he does at the moment, we're believing him because he doesn't tell us nonsense like the previous manager. He tells us facts and he doesn't look too far ahead. He just looks to the next game. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday and we'll take it from there.
Yep, summed up very well. We've got a super chat if I can get my words out. RM just saying, don't know why every time. Yeah, I was noticing this a little bit today. Des was pointing a lot and not getting the ball. I think the Yilmaz one was a bit hard because Yilmaz was sort of still taking it in his stride, and that was very, very close. I mean, the angle we were given for the offside was a bit ridiculous. But just on what Kerr said there, Dessers and Tav as well, I wanted to put in there that they both seem to have just gained a yard. I don't know if it's a fitness thing or if they were been carrying injuries, but they both just look a bit more lively when they're just in motion. I don't know what it is, but yeah, for me, it's another big positive. But we've got a massive super chat from Les Boldo. He said, I'm sure if the weather's bad at Parkhead and we lose, we won't be too angry. Give us peace. The win's a win. Attitude will creep up and bite us. Seeing it all too often with this team, we need quality. Let's get into it then. We can't get through a whole show with just pure positivity. There's no chance. So let's jump in. It's Connor. What do you make of this? Because I do understand where he's coming from, and listen, he's absolutely right in that we do need quality. Let's not beat around the bush. The team has gaps in it, and it does need surgery. We know this, and I'm sure it will be addressed in January, but certainly into the summer. But in terms of the attitude, I mean, I think we're riding a high a bit at the moment of what Clement has come in and done. But I think in terms of what he's saying, I don't think he is thinking like this, that a win's a win attitude. I think he's firmly got his feet on the ground and he is taking it game to game. And right now, I don't know, for me, I might be completely wrong, but it feels like he's making the best of a bad situation out until he gets the chance to make changes. And in the meantime, if other players come forward in that time and show themselves to be worthy of a spot in the future, then that's all the better for us.
I mean, it is, yeah. I can see, where Lindsay Paldo is coming from. However, I think you've got to sit back and just take stock for a minute and realise that's 15 games without defeat for Clement since he came in the door. So it's not just about wins or win. You don't get 15 games without losing. And I'm pretty sure in there's only been 2 draws in that time. He's won every other game. You don't get that just by having the wins or win mentality. Of course, that's not the mentality come on Scotland. And we're coming on here. I mean, what do you want us to do? Are we supposed to come on and slag the team because we won a game of football? Because we didn't win 5 or 6-0. The reality is we played well today. Yes, the second half there was a drop off. We were a bit deeper than I would have liked us to have been, as I said. And yes, there's still quality issues that need to be resolved, in January and in the summer. However, we are picking up wins just now, and not just any old wins either. These are big games that we're winning. You're winning a League Cup last week. That doesn't matter that we won 1-0. We lifted the cup. You win that game, however you win that game. You can pick the bones out and say this could have been better, that could have been better, we could have scored more goals, and that's fine, and that's what we do more often than not on here. And I think even before that, again, Betis, was it the perfect performance? No. We conceded 2 very, very sloppy goals from a defensive point of view. And again, that's something that, when we're missing Leon Balogun as the partnership in there with Connor Goldson, we do look a bit more vulnerable. So yeah, that's something that needs addressing, as there are with a number of things. But again, it's job done. We got the win that kept us in Europe, topped us the group that we don't play now until March in the Europa League. A first win for us against a Spanish team on Spanish soil. We've got to be positive about the way things are going. Of course, improvements are still needed. There's none of us sitting here saying that we're the finished article, or that, because we've, turned a wee bit of a corner and got a couple of wins under our belt, that it's, everything's rosy in the garden again, and Dessers is the next Michael Moles or anything like that. We understand the limitations, but I just think Clement deserves a lot of credit for getting what he's getting out of this group of players right now, particularly with the injury crisis that we've got. And you've got to give him his due as well for somebody like Sterling. I mean, what a stroke of genius it's been to put him into the middle of the park. So he's doing things like that, taking risks based on what he must be seeing in the training ground as well. And it's paying off. Yes, eventually we're going to have to be more comfortable in games and show a bit more clinical quality going forward. But I do think that will come. And now we have a chance that we didn't have. Before Clement came in the door, even when he first walked in the door, we'd all basically written our chances of winning the league title off. Now we've got a trophy in the bag, we're 2 points behind them with a game in hand, knowing that anything other than losing the game next Sunday, assuming we beat Ross County, keeps it squarely in our hands. Because if we draw next week, for talking's sake, then we beat Hibs in the game in hand, which I know sounds simple. I'm not saying it will be simple, but if we do that, then we'd go above them anyway. So things are looking a lot more positive right now. So I agree there's improvements, but I don't want to be coming on here battering the team constantly when we're winning games. That's not what we're about. It's about being constructive, and I think we do that perfectly well.
There you go. Well summed up. James Queen, how do I give subscriptions? Tried last 2 pods, can't seem to do it. I don't know exactly, and there may be someone in the chat that can help you out here because I've seen people do it in the chat. I don't know if you go. It depends on if you're watching on a mobile device. I don't know, but there's little section that says if you're subscribed, it will say subscribed. I think maybe if you click there, it gives you the option to gift them.
Not a link on the YouTube page, Stuart.
Pardon?
Is there not a link on the YouTube page to click on to join?
There you go. It may be on the YouTube page. Hopefully, someone in the chat that's done it before can help you out, James. I'm really, really sorry. I'll do my research to make sure next time I know 100% how you do it. But we appreciate your support regardless. Thank you very, very much. So the subs start coming on then, Kerr and Matondo, Wright, King. I think's got a rare run out there as well. At this point, it was wrap players up in cotton wool, really, wasn't it? And just, you know, because one thing, and I'm going to come on to some of the cards and stuff, but you know, we were in a war today. Like Seema was battered from pillar to post. The boy who what's his name? What was his name? Spencer on the right. I mean, he made 3 yellow card challenges before he's actually got booked, and then Connor's obviously touched on the fact that he has that sort of dive in the box as well. So it was one of these ones where we weren't getting a lot of protection today, and I think Clermont managed that quite well. That we got the game to a point where we were happy with it. Then we can pull them off, and the guys come on. They did fine. They got us over the line in the end, and it was just important to get those key players off and get them wrapped up for the big games to come.
I think the game management today was really good, and he knew what he was doing. There's been a lot of football we've played over the last few weeks, and there's still 3 games to go. That's a lot of football with a squad that's down to the bare bones because of injuries. So he's been very clever about it. And today, he knew 2-0 up, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go. He made changes because like you said, he trusts every player in the squad. It's not about 1 or 2 players; it's about everybody. As a team, you may only get 5 minutes, but the 5 minutes you get are going to be very important to the team because you're taking us over the line to get the 3 points. So everybody's got a job to do, and I mean, it's very hard to criticise. Listen, we all want better players on the side. We all do want better players on the side. I mean, no doubt he does as well. But at this moment in time, he can't get them. He has to use what he's got, but he's used it very, very well. And I think it's telling every player gets interviewed. They always mention the manager, or they mention the way the dynamics have changed, they mention the way the things have changed, and a lot happier and stuff like that, and the club a lot happier in training. So I think that's telling on the manager and also on the previous manager. And so, you know, we all know ourselves, it doesn't matter what job you do, if you're not happy at your work, you don't perform as good, you can't be bothered into work, or back to the day, I can't be asked in here, I hate my boss, blah, blah, blah. But if you go into a workplace you're happy with, you're smiling, you maybe put in a wee bit more effort, and maybe you would if you weren't happy. So football's exactly the same. If it's not happy in the dressing room, they don't do it intentionally, but they don't perform as well unless they're happy. So I'm happy with the way things are going with the side. I'm happy with the way we've played the last few games. Yeah, we all want to do better. We all want to score more goals. We want to perform and sit and watch it at home or sit and watch in the stadium like this is the best football we've ever seen. But at the end of the day, it's about results. Nobody remembers performances if we don't win. But getting these 3 points and keep getting this title race, and personally myself, Michael Beale was here, I wrote us off. So I thought Michael Beale and Charles, we're never getting back into this title race. And the Big Falls took us back in it with the same players who I wrote off. So that's a big difference for me. It's a big change. And on the game today, I thought the ref was poor at times, Stuart. I thought the boy went through the back of Dessers, which was it wasn't a great challenge. He wasn't even going for the ball, he was just going through the back of Dessers. I thought the tackle on Campbell was poor as well. Yeah, Todd was clever and put his foot in front of the ball, but it was poor. But the boy throwing himself to the ground for the penalty when he was booked earlier, Stephen O'Donnell throwing the ball away and then shitting himself in case he got a second yellow and tried to plead he didn't mean it. And he never gave him a second yellow. I thought it was poor because, you know yourself, if that's our player doing that, there's a big conspiracy about how the Rangers players don't get away with stuff. So It's not just us that get away with things, and everybody else does it. But no, on today, I'm sitting here ecstatic because we've won three points. We're going to Wednesday night. I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I'm even looking forward to Saturday yet until Wednesday's over. So I'm sitting here and going to enjoy my Christmas. And just to say to Aldo, Ava's doing really well. Thanks, Aldo.
There we go. Big update from Kerr there. Brian, member for 12 months now. Thank you very much for your support. Brian, a whole year. That's absolutely incredible. I can see people trying to help James out to do these gifted subscriptions. If I had time to jump on the phone, I would try and get the exact thing to help you out. But definitely for the next pod, James, we'll have that one. So a couple of the decisions in, Connor. I want to touch on that one Kerr just mentioned, because we were told that the way the refs are going to sort of officiate some of these games now, is all of the games, is with a zero tolerance policy to players' reactions and things like this. And you see it all the time. Any sort of reaction now gets you booked. And on a number of occasions, we've seen, maybe not in our league, but down in England, you've seen players get double bookings for 2 reactions back to back. It's just the way the rules are right now. You can't do that. So the ball is from Dessa's wild left foot slice that maybe he should have passed, somehow spins and stays on the pitch, and for whatever reason the ball boy just drags it off the pitch with his foot. So instead of Motherwell getting the throw in, we get a drop ball, which O'Donnell was not happy about, and threw the ball away in frustration. And you could tell the immediate reaction of him after he threw that ball away. He knew he was in trouble, because he started immediately pleading and apologising for it. And the ref just laughs and just carries on. And listen, I'm not saying, I'm not an advocate for just sending players off for nothing. And sometimes I think you should be able to react in certain scenarios, and the ref should understand it. But the rules are the rules, and I don't think the refs followed the rules there at all.
No, he's certainly not followed the rules there at all. And I don't really fully understand why, because I could get it, if he just said something, O'Donnell, because players do that. Excuse me. But the fact that he's actually thrown the ball, that, for me, that's clear. You get booked for that 100 times out of 100, or at least you should. I don't know why he's done it. I don't know if it because of the time that was left in the game, and the refs maybe thought, oh, well, we'll just, have a word, let's, no, have him suspended for another game. I don't know. But he clearly should have been booked for that. I would have expected one of our players to get booked for it, as I expect anybody else. Because what's the point? What's the point in saying zero tolerance to this? If you behave like that, you'll get booked. Except it's obviously not zero tolerance, because you're happy to tolerate that. And there's been other instances of it before. And yet I've seen instances where players have been booked for a lot less than what O'Donnell done there. I've seen players be booked for simply asking the ref why he made the decision, without being overly aggressive, because you're not allowed to do it. They say that the captain can have a brief chat with the ref, but the other players are supposed to stay away from him. But clearly O'Donnell didn't do that. So yeah, it's one of those ones, obviously didn't have a bearing in the game, but it's just the inconsistencies that you get with referees. I think most referees would have sent him off there. He's lucky that David Dickinson, or Dickinson's real deal, as it was for him there, that he didn't get off. So, I think he got away with one. As did the ball boy. I love the ball boy's reaction. The camera pans to him, he's standing on the body's lap. What happened? What happened? You know what happened? Come on. He should have been booked, I know. But no, just bizarre. I mean, Motherwell really shouldn't have been finishing that game with 11 men anyway. I think that's clear, whether it's the dive, whether it's O'Donnell for that one, or whether it's the fact that I'm surprised they didn't have more of a look at O'Donnell's first booking when he's basically kicked Butland in the head. Now, it's totally unintentional, I get that, but that's surely endangering the safety of a player, is it not? Would that, if it's a head, not quite that. I mean, if you elbow somebody in the face, you get a red card, so why is it different if you kick them?
We'll never know. I don't think anyone from Motherwell was getting a red card today. It was nice to see Sterling get a yellow card though for the same, obviously leading a little bit with the arm, but he's jumping. But I swear I've watched Motherwell do that about 26 times with no card. We are the people gifted 5 memberships to the Rabble podcast. So if you've got a membership there, thank We Are the People. Very, very kind gesture there. What else have we got coming in? Loads of Merry Christmases. Let's just, Paul's just said there, Sterling got booked for jumping. There we are. Kerr, just to rewind a tiny little bit then, because Connor touched on it briefly, but I did want to jump into it. The penalty itself, I actually was a bit worried on first viewing because at full speed, I thought it was a penalty. I thought Yilmaz has caught him and he's gone down on his pen. Obviously, on second, it's a good decision from the ref. It was the handball as well, of course. Any complaints from them? I mean, it'll be all over Twitter today that they were denied a Stonewall penalty. We know that much, but any complaints that they can have about that? It looked just like one of those ones. Maybe not quite a dive. It might be like a bit like the McCausland one that we coincidentally did get a penalty for, but the player is expecting the contact and therefore he's put his body across and he's gone down. It's sort of like not quite a dive, but definitely not a foul.
I was like you, Stuart. I thought when I seen it, I thought that's a penalty. I thought that straight away, and then when they showed it back, I said no, he's Red Bad done really well and pulled out the challenge, and he's put himself in front of him waiting in contact. Nothing happens, but he goes down. So you can see it was a dive. He was trying to be clever, but at the end of the day, he was trying to con the ref to get a penalty. It never happened. It wasn't a penalty for me, so you can probably say it was a dive. But I know if it was up the other end, and I'll be shouting for the penalty. And if we got that, everybody would be it's a conspiracy. So no doubt, all these blogs already have started just now and saying why will never get a penalty. That's a disgrace. That's my game added to the book. Even will give away a penalty. So the Tin Hat Brigade will keep going tonight all over Christmas. Not if a Christmas hats on, they'll have tinfoil hats on.
There you go. So finally, we've got to discuss the number 9, then Connor, Cyril Dessers, who had a bit of a mixed game. He had a lovely little 1-2 with Dow for the goal. A few wayward shots or air shots. I think he had at least 2 air shots during the game. That's the Dessers we know and some love. He actually had some really good moments as well, I thought, throughout. And obviously the 2 runs he peels through. The first one is quite conclusive. He definitely looks offside. Nice little finish though. Good slip under. Player that he looks like he's playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, which is really, really good to see. And like I said before, definitely got a bit more of a spring in his step. I think Kerr touched on that. But right at the end, was it Lammers who wins the ball in a 50-50, by the way. He proper goes in for that 50-50, which I was delighted to see from Lammers. Does something good, and we always talk about how the next thing is bad, but instead he strides forward with it, slips the ball through. Dessers goes in, lovely little fake around the goalkeeper, left foot finish, and then he's robbed of just a fantastic goal, really. And they look back at the camera angle, and listen, it's not just us. I know that Celtic had one similar. Was it last season? I think Maeda, they maybe like put the camera from about 60 yards away to show the offside, and against Day, there's been at least 3 or 4 at Fir Park that. Listen, I'm not arguing whether they're offside. I'm just arguing that is that really the best camera angle we can provide with VAR, because to everyone else it just doesn't look conclusive.
It's no, the problem is that is something that they're going to have to address, because you can't have the situations with offsides where you're expecting officials to draw lines if they're not getting a clear view of the offside. It should be a side-on view that they can see clearly along that line, just as they would if they were the 4th official, the linesman on the day, would see it and then make that call, because the line isn't straight. And you look at how they draw it, because of the angle, it can't be straight. It's always going to just be slightly off in terms of the way the line is. So they need to address that. Motherwell, Fir Park is particularly bad for it. A few of the other grounds aren't great either. But Motherwell have been involved in a few high-profile incidents where you just think, I mean, the Maeda one you're talking about there, even as a Rangers fan, for me, he was about 2 yards onside, and the lines were drawn so poorly because of the angle they're looking at for about 60 yards away. It doesn't help the situation. So, no, I think it's unfortunate for the big man, because I thought he probably deserved his goal the day. The first one I've no qualms about. He has gone just a bit too early, which slightly frustrates me, because I don't think he does need to go as early as I think he could have afforded to just hold his run for a split second, and then go, and I think he'd have still got in the end there. The second one, I mean, it's lovely for the second one. Just jinks around the goalkeeper, and at the tight angle that he had as well, to slot it home was fantastic. But I played that easily would have been probably the best goal he'd scored for us had it stood. But the bright side is he's had the confidence to do that, and despite it being ruled offside, you've got to keep hoping that that's given him the motivation. Okay, you're a bit unlucky the day we find margins, but you've had 2 great finishes there. And if he keeps going like that, it'll be great, I think, in terms of he'll get a couple more goals in the bag. And he's going to need to, because for all we talk about him, the reality is whatever happens in January, he's not going to be one of the players that will be getting out the door in January. He's here till the end of the season, at least Cyril Dessers, in my opinion. We might bring another striker in January, but that more likely that striker will be to replace Roof than Dessers, simply because Roof's just he's finished. You can't get more than a few minutes out of him. So I think Dessers will be there to the end of the season, and we're going to need him picking up goals whenever he can. And hopefully, maybe next week will be the time for him to shine at Parkhead, and it won't be offside. But I totally agree that we need to do something to address these god awful lines for the offside, because you can't be doing that. You really can't. And the thing that gets me is when the linesman puts his flag up. See, in a situation like that, it's total guesswork for the linesman. When it's that tight, how can he possibly be sure that it's offside? I get why he's put it up, because then he's gone, well, VR will come in anyway and look, but you just kind of go, he's totally guessed, and then you've got the VR sort of guessing with the lines as well, because it's a terrible angle. So you just feel a wee bit unlucky.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm sure everyone has got plenty of stuff to do on Christmas Eve. If you're like me, you've still got loads of presents to wrap or even buy. I think in Kerr's case, maybe, because I heard that he was down getting some last minute ones earlier. So we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Also want to send best wishes, like everyone else, to Gazza Legend, who looks like he's unfortunately going to be spending it in the hospital. So all our best wishes to you, Gazza. We hope everything goes well and you're out of there as soon as possible. I see Paul saying it. Not a fan of Christmas then from Paul. But honestly, thank you so much for all the support this year from everyone. There's obviously plenty more to come, and I'll leave you the fact that there are quizzes coming for the break as well. So everyone who loves the quizzes, we're going to have a few of them going. So plenty more to come. Hopefully plenty more joy to come just after Christmas as well. Thank you to Connor and Kerr for joining me today to go through all this. And again, once more, thank you to every single person in chat. All of the super chats, the subscriptions, the gifted memberships, they all mean a lot to us, and we really do appreciate it. We will leave it there for you on a day that Rangers beat Motherwell 2-0, despite being the underdog, as Messrs Cragen and McFadden predicted a Motherwell victory, or point at least. So I was shocked to see that we somehow went against those two absolute geniuses and upset the apple cart. But we'll leave it there, guys. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you soon after.
All the best, everyone.